I'm John McKee, editor of Messianic Apologetics, messianicapologetics.net. And I would like to welcome you to this episode of Messianic Insider, your theology and news roundup for October the 20th, 2025. We are returning from the weekend. Some of you all who subscribe to Messianic Apologetics on YouTube have doubtlessly seen how at my local congregation, we've just started the fall 2025 new members or new foundations class. So you'll be getting some Saturday, late afternoon, early evening posts on what it means to be a part of today's Messianic Jewish movement and some of the important things about it. That's a class which is taught seasonally. Across North America today, two, I would say, substantial things have been occurring. Many of us are aware right now of the Amazon shortage, the Amazon outage, which took place. There are a number of services which are presently unavailable right now. And of course, it's just a reminder how integrated all of these systems are and, how much we do rely upon them, whether it's for good or something else. Secondly, there has been a shift in the seasons taking place here weather-wise. Last night was a very, very interesting night's sleep with not only things getting colder, but the barometric pressure changing because I actually do get barometric pressure headaches. So please do keep me in your prayers. We're going to have a shorter episode today because when this is concluded, I'm going to have to go lie down because even pills aren't necessarily covering up some of the things. All right, we're going to have a short theology roundup. What is on everyone's mind right now? Well, obviously, what's on everyone's mind is the end times and prophecy. And when are we? And how close are we to the return of the Messiah? I've referenced this resource many times. Our ministry book, When Will the Messiah Return? The Dangers of Pre-Tribulationism. This is the combined volume of When Will the Messiah Return and Later Dangers. We released it right before the Messiah 2025 conference. But one of the things which makes certainly When Will the Messiah Return different than I would say a lot of the other materials out there which address the end times is it doesn't try to give you a date. It doesn't try to give you a timetable. It instead says, look at what's happening with the emergence of the modern Messianic movement. And from that, what are some of the big things we're supposed to be looking for as they concern the salvation of the Jewish people, the return of the exiles to the Holy Land? What about the growth of the Messianic movement, the Messianic perspective among many non-Jewish believers? Are we witnessing the nations streaming to Zion in the end times to be taught from Moses' teaching? Those are the kinds of things which that publication addresses. And more than anything else, and I think that this is something we don't get challenged enough about, we have the idea far too frequently that the last days, the end times, are about the rise of the beast, the new world order, the anti-Messiah, antichrist. That's what we tend to think of rather than the return of the Messiah, the restoration of the kingdom to Israel, Acts 1:6. What the forces of light are to be doing, especially as in the last times, there are going to be many people who die and are going to be experiencing a Messiahless eternity. And so one of the big reorientations, one of the big shifts which has to take place for all of us is we are citizens of the kingdom of God. we are part of the kingdom of light, not kingdom of darkness. And what are we supposed to be doing to see the goals of the kingdom of heaven reached as they concern the last days? And not a lot of people approach it from that perspective. All right, now we're going to go into some news. I did say this was going to be a shorter episode just because I have not been feeling well today because of the front which came through. And I didn't get any rest a whole lot this weekend either because of teaching the new class. So, yeah, not in my 30s anymore. So I need to anyway. Okay, so all of the news stories, of course, we do the news roundup after the theology roundup because the news is something which changes day to day. We continue to, of course, monitor the ceasefire or lack thereof, Israel and Gaza, the Russia-Ukraine situation. Zelensky was at the White House on Friday. We're still getting information on that. And then just a few other things we need to be aware of. This is news which mainly comes across my feed, social media feeds passively. As many of you all know by now, all the links should be available later today when this episode is archived at MessianicApologetics.net. Okay, our first story, and this is from Friday, the 17th of October, Newsmax, although this has definitely hit other platforms. Breaking news, Prince Andrew said Friday he is giving up his royal title of the Duke of York after his friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein returned to the headlines. So, yeah, Prince Andrew is a disgraced member of the British royal family now. Of course, there are many people within the Messianic sphere of influence. I am not one of them, but they have subscribed for many years to the idea that Prince Charles of Wales and now King Charles III is actually the anti-Messiah or Antichrist. I don't believe that at all. I think it's based on a lot of false presuppositions. But the biggest one I think needs to be stressed is that a lot of people don't like the British royals. So why would you even think that the beast, the anti-Messiah, would come from the British royal family? They're too unpopular in too many parts of the world. So this is like one of the last places we should be looking for the beast. Is the beast alive today? As I commonly like to say, if he is, I hope he's in diapers. But I don't think he's going to come from the royal family. From Open Source Intel Defender, Friday afternoon, October the 17th, speaking from the White House alongside Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, President Donald J. Trump states, "It's an honor to be here with a very strong leader, a man who's been through a lot, a man who I've gotten to know very well, and we've gotten along really very well." Okay, so this was the meeting at the White House, and President Trump was commending Zelensky, especially with everything the Ukrainians have gone through in this conflict. So here's another report. This is from the New York Post on October the 17th. President Trump said Vladimir Putin wants to end the war during his meeting with Vladimir Zelensky, while the Ukrainian president declared that Putin is not ready for peace. Okay, so this is not the only story which covered some of the exchanges which took place at that meeting. And of course, this is something, while we continue to pray for peace, this is something which continues to change. From Visegrad 24, Trump on the war in Ukraine after meeting with Zelensky. Let both claim victory. Let history decide. No more shooting, no more death, no more vast and unsustainable sums of money spent. So the president, who is, of course, coming off of a big Mideast peace deal, is now wanting to see if there can be peace in Russia, Ukraine. And as big as the Mideast peace deal is, In some ways, this is bigger because Russia is a major nuclear power. Okay, Visegrad 24, this is a 23-second clip with Zelensky. Zelensky commented on Trump's proposal to both sides of the conflict to stop the war and declare victory. I think we have to stop where we are. Okay, got a little bit of religious news. This is from Protestia on X, and there's an article you can read here. Church of England breaks in two, loses 40 million members after conservative majority announce major split. Now, of course, this is widely in response to the new Archbishop of Canterbury, Sarah Mullally. In principle, I don't have any issues with women being in positions of religious leadership, but I do have a problem with progressives being in positions of religious leadership. And so the previous two archbishops of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, Justin Welby, I believe that's his name, they've been pretty progressive on matters of theology. And so this is just, that is continuing in that stream. But many people in Anglicanism, enough is enough, and they're going to formally break from the Church of England, and they'll go off and do their own thing, like a lot of conservative offshoots have done over the past few decades in different denominations. All right, here's an interesting one from Fox News. This was posted Friday morning, October the 17th. I just didn't have it for Friday's episode. Deafening silence. The hashtags have gone dormant. The chants that once shook campuses have faded into uneasy silence. And here, of course, it's the deafening silence of the Free Palestine movement after the Gaza ceasefire. Yeah, now that there's a ceasefire in Gaza, how many people, or an attempted ceasefire, we should say now, how many people on that, major pro-Palestinian side, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, how many of them have now gone utterly silent? Is this not part of what you were working for? Should you not be exuberant, shouldn't you be jubilant about this? Shouldn't you be super happy and super excited that you're going to see some level of peace break through? We haven't really seen that as much as we probably should. Okay, this is from 2 days ago from Visegrad 24. Trump and Putin to finalize the Ukraine peace deal in Budapest, Hungary. I'm just going to read this for you. The announcement followed a productive phone call between the two leaders, with the meeting expected to take place in the next couple of weeks. Now, we've heard some of this thing before, right? Right after the Alaska summit between Putin and Trump, then there was the summit at the White House with Zelensky and all the different NATO and European Union leaders. Now, Zelensky back at the White House, back in Washington, in the wake of Trump's Mideast peace deal. Are we going to see Putin and Trump meet in Budapest? We'll see. We'll see what happens. At least they're trying to work toward that. Okay, here's something which came across my social media feed, Instagram, from the Christian Post International. Eric Trump defended his father's faith in a recent interview, saying God's hand has been evident in Donald Trump's life and even in surviving an assassination attempt. Citing divine purpose behind his leadership, Trump declared his father is heaven-bound and saving Christianity, saving God, and saving the family unit. While Christian commentators thanked the Trump administration for defending traditional values, they emphasized that salvation rests with Christ alone, not any political leader. Now, I'm probably not the only one who, in seeing Eric Trump say things along the lines of Trump is saving Christianity, saving God, saving the family unit, who I'm a little concerned. not just because that is borderline, or maybe not so borderline, Trump-olatry, but why do we need Donald Trump to help save the faith? Why can't we just go to God and pray to the Lord and pray that he moves on the hearts of people to repent of their sin and to read their Bibles and to return to a traditional way of doing things, marriage being one man and one woman, things like that. We don't need Donald Trump to save the faith, but we are thankful for the presidency of Donald Trump, him helping to maintain our religious liberties, our freedom of speech, etc. And we do have to make the most of it while we still have those privileges as American citizens. This is not a huge surprise. This is from Open Source Intel, October the 18th. So this was from Saturday. Iran says no longer bound by restrictions on its nuclear program. Right. And of course, one of the first comments was they were never bound, always cheating. But this leads into the discussion about whether or not we're going to see a round two between Israel, Iran, maybe even the United States. Hopefully not. Okay, this is from Open Source Intel Defender, the 18th of October. So this is from Saturday. During his call Thursday with U.S. President Donald J. Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin demanded Kiev surrender full control over the Donetsk Oblast, I'm sorry I mispronounced that, of eastern Ukraine, and in exchange, Russia would be willing to return captured areas of both Kherson and Zaporizhzhia. I apologize for mispronouncing that, according to the Washington Post. So, yeah, the Donetsk region is mostly Russian-speaking, a frequent Kremlin talking point that Ukrainian and European officials view as sympathetic to demands by Russia. So, are you going to see an exchange of territories? In other words, there's this highly Russian-speaking area of Ukraine, cede that to Russia, and here are some areas that Russia has occupied, but it's going to pull back from and give back to Ukraine. Are we going to be able to see that? Are they going to be able to cut a deal? Or are we going to continue to see an ongoing stalemate? These are some of the factors which, of course, play into the difficulty of this conflict coming to an end. Okay, many of you all have doubtlessly seen this. This has been reported across different news platforms. So this is the first one I saw. There's a 5-minute, 37-second clip. I can't believe what I've just watched. A Jewish lawyer wearing a Star of David was arrested after the police alleged the symbol had antagonized pro-Palestine protesters. So Gideon Sa'ar, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Israel, says this: the Star of David is a symbol of Jewish identity, not provocation. The fact that Jews are warned in central London not to display it publicly shows how rampant anti-Semitism spread through hateful pro-Palestinian marches in Britain has poisoned the streets. This is a moral disgrace, he says. So here you have a Jewish person in the United Kingdom who cannot easily wear a Star of David and was arrested for it. So what does that tell you regarding what's taking place in Europe and what's taking place with a lot of these pro-Palestinian protests? We just wait and see. It means that a lot of European Jews are going to be considering making Aliyah. Some may consider coming to the United States, but on the whole, they're going to be a lot more considering moving to Israel. From October the 18th, this is from Saturday evening, 9:54 p.m. Open source Intel Defender. Yes, the U.S. State Department announced earlier tonight that it has informed the guarantor nations of the peace agreement in the Gaza Strip of credible reports indicating an imminent ceasefire violation by Hamas against the Palestinians. So here, They add that this planned attack against Palestinian civilians would constitute a direct and grave violation of the ceasefire agreement and undermine the significant progress achieved through mediation efforts. So here you have Hamas turning on Palestinians, and that would constitute a violation of the ceasefire. Okay, we've got 5 more to go. So, along with that, here is the headline from Newsmax, 18 October. Hamas breaks Mideast ceasefire. Israel launches attacks. Israel on Sunday, I'm sorry, this was from yesterday, the 19th. Israel on Sunday struck targets in the southern Gaza Strip after it said its troops came under fire from Hamas terrorists in the first major test of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire meant to halt more than 2 years of war. Yes, even though this Trump peace agreement for the Middle East situation is historic, it's going to have difficulty seeing implemented. It's not going to be something which just gets implemented immediately. It's going to be met with difficulty. Okay, open source intel Defender. This is from yesterday morning, October the 19th. The ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip has all but collapsed as the Israeli Air Force continues to carry out strikes against areas of the southern Gaza Strip, targeting sites in and around Khan Yunis. And there's a 21-second clip you can watch with that. Okay, open source intel yesterday, October the 19th, and there's a clip from Fox News, Maria Bartiromo interviewing the president. Trump warns Hamas will be forcibly removed if they refuse to disarm. At a certain point, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we'll have to do it for them. They're very violent. We're going to find out. So, of course, this is something which we'll continue to wait and see what happens. Are you going to see this ceasefire not really come together, and Trump with America possibly is going to have to come in and just stop Hamas, and in the process we could find out how bad Hamas really has been. That's just one possibility. Open source intel yesterday, October the 19th. Donald Trump urged Vladimir Zelensky to accept Russia's terms for ending its war in a volatile White House meeting on Friday. Okay, now we're learning more about what happened at the White House. Warning, Vladimir Putin said he would destroy Ukraine if he did not agree. The meeting was a shouting match with Trump cursing all the time, from the Financial Times. Okay, how accurate is this? How inaccurate is it? We do know that Trump is serious about seeing a peace agreement come together between Russia and Ukraine. And nobody is going to get everything they want. Everybody is going to have something to lose. But the president's motivation is to stop the death, stop the killing. Okay, and then finally, and this is also from open source intel, this is from this morning, 6:55 a.m., October the 20th. Vice President Vance noted that Hamas is no longer a unified organization, but a collection of splintered factions, making disarmament nearly impossible. We don't actually know even what the reality on the ground is, Vance said. And there's a 1-minute, 16-second clip you can watch with that. So, even with there being a ceasefire agreement, now the ceasefire hasn't held. Can it, of course, be put back into place? Yes. But you're hearing things about Hamas going after Palestinians. Hamas is now fractured. We don't know who's really in charge or who's doing what. What's going to happen? We do continue, of course, pray for peace, Israel, Hamas. We know that the living hostages have been returned. There's still going to be, bodies which need to be returned. That's not going to be an instantaneous process, clearly. But we also know that there's hopefully going to be, some kind of peacekeepers from different Arab or Islamic states, mostly. They're going to be put into Gaza, and we'll wait and see what happens, won't we? And with the Russia-Ukraine situation, we do pray for peace, but it's not going to be something which comes about all that easily. All right, and that finishes our show for today. It is, of course, shorter because I have not been feeling very well today, but I did want to come on and share with you a number of important things. And we continue to pray and watch and wait. That's the main thing more than anything else. As always, on behalf of Outreach Israel Ministries and Messianic Apologetics, I would like to sincerely thank you for your ongoing prayers, encouragement, and donations toward all of our ministry efforts. And if you have not, I do encourage you to go to our ministry website, messianicapologetics.net, and there you can access a wide number of free articles, frequently asked questions entries, back issues of Outreach Israel News, and the October 2025 issue has been posted. And you can check into different back episodes of Messianic Insider, McKee Moment Shorts, etc. We will see you again tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm still feeling okay, with another episode of Messianic Insider. Until then, may God bless you, shalom, and take care.